Welcome back, initiates into the FreeMelon Mystery School of Higher Wisdom. I'm Eli. Thank you so much for joining me again. Today we're going to be chatting about my experience during a 2-week fast. We'll go through what you can expect on a 2-week fast and just my general comments on, on that entire process. Now, the way I structured it was that if you've seen the last video in this series, I took a trip to Iceland. And I traveled around Iceland, just journeying and hiking and whatnot, and I did it without food during a fast. And so that took me 8 days to complete. Now, upon finishing the trip, I really didn't feel like breaking the fast because I was feeling that I'd made so much progress, might as well just draw the fast out for a little bit longer. So I ended up continuing once I got home and going on for an additional week. 15 days, I guess, in total. So let's start with week number 1. What did I experience? How did I feel during the Iceland trip? What was it like journeying around the entire country with no food and just a little bit of water? Really, I was only having water when I retire for the evening, just go back to either the car that I stayed in or a lovely hotel room, or the hostel that I was staying at. And I only had water in the evening. I didn't really need it while I was journeying or traveling. Now again, for newbies into fasting, my experience will not be like your experience. I'm very accustomed to fasting. My body's gone through immense amounts of detoxification up until this point. So my experience might be milder. I'll just tell you how it went for me. Day 1 and day 2 are always going to be a little bit different than day 3 and day 4, because day 1 and day 2 you're coming off of the foods that you were eating prior to the fast. So you're always going to have a little, not always, okay? I don't experience this anymore, but the average person will experience some toxic hunger. Dr. Joel Fuhrman talks about this. He talks about the acids from food that you previously were trying to digest. As they start getting ready for elimination, they might stimulate some additional hunger pangs in you, at least for those that first day or so. So you might feel not as great for the first day, but then it eventually passes. By day 3, day 4, and beyond, you can pretty much assume that your hunger will be gone. So for me, my energy was still good. Day 1, day 2, day 3, even day 4, I was very awake. Driving was no problem, not falling asleep on the road. And when I got out of the car to do hiking trips and adventures and whatnot, still good energy even on, day 3, day 4. After day 4, day 5, day 6, my energy started to drop a little bit. Now you can also expect this. If you go on a multiple day fast, you can also expect this. Expect your energy to drop a little bit, but not at the expense of alertness. You're going to be very mentally awake. You're going to want to do things like read, study something, things that don't require a lot of physical exertion. So I did feel a little bit of that while I was traveling around, but still there's this energy that you have. It's hard to describe, but it's there, it's present. And as long as you can get past the initial urge to just relax, you find that the energy does sustain itself. So that's definitely something that you can expect if you're going, more than 4 or 5 days on a fast. And I'm so happy I did this because the sights that I saw as I was driving around in the car, just from the car alone, the trip to Iceland was indescribable. Even if I never got out of the car. Oh my God, I'm driving under a rainbow arch. This road will take me right through a rainbow arch. Oh my God. Wow. Chris, this road goes nowhere. It looks like it goes straight into the mountain. It's expensive as hell though. Oh my God, Iceland is so expensive. So if you go, my personal advice, never eat out at restaurants. Okay, never. I never did, but just don't go to restaurants. You're gonna pay an arm and a leg and maybe your genitals to eat there. Get what you need from grocery stores and supply yourself that way, and just eat as minimally as possible. You're gonna save a ton in the end. I found some necklaces that were like
$35 for a necklace. Crazy expensive here.
Anyway, so getting back to the rest of the fast, by day 6, 7, you start to feel very much at peace. There is a definite calm that overcomes you, a certain bliss of emptiness. And people who've had fasting experience will know what I'm talking about. But if you're new to this, it's almost as if you're definitely not hungry. Okay, that's for sure. You do sense that there is a lack of substance in your stomach, in your body, and that peace, that emptiness, the harmony, the ease of that emptiness is sensed by your body, and it makes itself known to you, but it's just hard to describe what that feeling is. We don't really have a good set of words that describes that in English. That calm, that bliss makes meditation much more efficient. It makes study much more efficient. You retain information with more ease. So the urge for you when you do this is you're going to want to be doing things mentally when you fast. And if you're accustomed to it, like I am, then exploring a new country or doing some hikes might not be out of the question either. You're gonna want to do things. Day 7 and day 8 though, I did notice a little bit more fatigue than in the previous days. So getting to that hump after the first week, yeah, I noticed a bit of fatigue setting in. Not enough to stop me from wanting to go around, but I did notice it. In fact, I had finished the circuit around the country in around 5 days, I believe. So the other days I had time to drive around to some other places and then tour around the city and the town. And it was in those last 2 days where I was exploring the city of Reykjavik, where I experienced a little bit more fatigue, where I was more inclined to just relax. So it was good. Like I felt nice. I felt at peace with myself, but I wasn't ready to go run a marathon. That's for sure. So I get back home after day 8 of the fast. And at this point, I decided that I was going to do 4 days of dry fasting, okay? So no food, no water for 4 days. And those days were very interesting. The dry fast is like water fasting. It's more powerful. It reaches deeper into the tissues, and it will detoxify you in a more profound way than a water fast will. I don't need to get into the science of dry fasting. Hundreds of people have done this work for me. You just need to scour YouTube or wherever for dry fasting information. So I don't really feel like I need to get into what happens there. I will in another lecture that's specifically geared to healing, but for now it's not necessary. The one thing I do want to mention though is that when you are fasting, there's some sort of magic that happens around anywhere from the 11 to 13 day mark, you know, day 10, day 12, day 10, day 11, day 12, around there. It's obviously a very individual thing. But something very magical happens and you start to gain energy. The body has detoxed and purged enough poison that the efficiency of being clean-bodied starts to make its presence known. Now, on the 4th day of my dry fast, I woke up and I had very good energy. In fact, the very first thing I did on this 4th day of a dry fast, after 8 days of water fasting, was I went out to do a interval training session. I just woke up and I needed to sprint. I needed to run. So I went outside and I did intervals of sprinting, jog, sprint, jog, burpees, light exercise, burpees, just like this interval training circuit. And that was really interesting for me, and because I hadn't felt that magic energy burst yet. So that was a very interesting phenomenon to have experienced. Now, I broke my fast with a little bit of lemon and water, and I did water fasting for the next 2 days, and then I broke my fast with